Well, I was a little interested in my father's case. He is passed,
I'm sorry to hear that.
but I appreciate that. He had heart problems. He was in the hospital. I think they were doing trying to clear out some of the veins, some of the cloggage.
Now say that.
He was on a respirator,
Okay.
and the respirator stopped working. My mother was there, thankfully. She pushed the button. Everybody comes in all in a rush. Obviously, I don't think that helped his condition. And then a couple months later, he went in for another one and suffered a stroke during the surgery.
You know, that's not an uncommon thing to happen. I don't know necessarily that having a stroke during surgery and failing to recognize a stroke during surgery is necessary medical malpractice. It can be, but an issue may be whether or not he was eligible for surgery. In other words, should he have been put under the knife? Was he strong enough to handle that? Was he not? So what kind of surgery was it again he was having?
I believe it was just to try to open the arteries.
Okay, and was it actually an open heart surgery, or was it some sort of stent that was being placed in, or do you know exactly what it was?
I don't think it was a stent. I think they were just going to a vein to his leg. To get up to the heart to try to. Yes.
Okay, so they were catheterizing him, and then he had a stroke. That could be eligible for medical malpractice. But when did he pass?
2 years ago.
Exactly 2 years ago, or more than that?
Oh.
Or less?
I'm thinking less.
You're thinking less. Okay, so you obviously heard me talk about medical malpractice law and procedure in Missouri, and so we have to find out exactly what was the date of your father's death, what was the date on which he had the stroke, and what was the date on which this respirator thing took place. We need the entire timeline. Are you able to get that for us?
I am.
Okay. So if you would get that and send it to askbrian@thelawshow.com, we'll be able to give you some more solid answers on what we can do. Okay?
I would appreciate that. And right. I had no ill regard for the doctors. My biggest concern was when he came out of surgery, my mother and I mean, he walked in on his own. And he came out as he didn't recognize us. He was delirious. And they were like, well, you understand that he has this, this, and this. And we were like, well, did nobody see him before he went under the knife? I mean, that man walked in here, and he can't even stand up now.
Right. How much time passed between the surgery and when he passed?
I'm going to say 4 months.
Okay. So, real important that you get me that timeline as soon as you can. And it's horrible. I feel your pain for the loss of your father. It's a terrible thing to, we go into the hospital thinking that we're going to come out healthy, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. So we're looking forward to continuing our conversation with you, Paul. We're happy to help you out and give you the answers that you're seeking, and that's really no problem.